Did you know that you can embed content from the library's website directly into your Canvas pages like the one shown here? I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to do this. Before we begin though, it might be helpful to know the structure of the library's website, known as LibGuides. First, the collections of pages within the library's LibGuides are known as guides. In this example, we have a guide for the Marketing 271 class. A guide can consist of one page, or, as you can see with this guide, it can be made up of multiple pages. Additionally, each page contains a series of content boxes. When you're selecting content from the library's LibGuides, you need to decide if you want to embed an entire guide, a single page from a guide, or a content box. You'll discover when embedding the content from any of these elements into Canvas that you'll need to know the titles of each of them, and, in the case of the pages and content boxes, the path for locating them. This will make more sense as we walk through the steps of embedding the content, but if you need help with this, just let any of the librarians know, and we'd be happy to help you out. For my example in this video, I'm going to embed a content box. It will be from this Marketing 271 guide, on the Other Research Sources page, and is titled Demographics Statistics. Since I'll need to identify the guide and page that this content box is on to embed it in Canvas, it may be helpful to note the path and titles. So, the guide is MKT 271, the page is Other Research Sources, and the content box is Demographics/Statistics. Once you're ready to embed the LibGuides content, you'll go to the page within your Canvas course and click on the Edit button. Next, place your cursor where you want to add the content. Now, go to the Editing toolbar and click on the blue arrow pointing downwards that's labeled More External Tools when you hover over it. Select SCC Library LibGuides Content. In the pop-up window, you'll walk through a series of drop-down menus to find and select the library content you want to embed in your Canvas page. You can leave the LibGuide site as it is and skip to the Content Type drop-down. You can select a full LibGuide, a single page from a guide, or a content box from a guide. Since I want to embed a content box, I will select that as my content type. Now I need to select which guide contains the content box from the drop-down. Note that you may need to scroll down in the pop-up window to see the bottom of the drop-down list. I'll scroll down and select the MKT 271 guide. Next, I need to select the page that has the content box, which is Other Research Sources. Finally, I can select the Demographics/Statistics box from the drop-down and then click on the Embed Content button. Be sure to click on the Save button when you're done embedding content and editing the page. There are a couple of things that may be helpful to know about embedding library content. In this example that I showed at the beginning of the video, I've embedded a full guide that has multiple pages. Notice that if I click on the tabs for the other pages within the guide, that I navigate to them within Canvas. However, clicking on any other links in the guide will open the content in a new browser tab. Also, you may have noticed that I provided an external link to where the embedded content can be found. This isn't necessary, but it may be helpful should any of your students experience problems with the embedded content displaying correctly. Finally, if I decide later that I want to remove the embedded content from my Canvas page, I need to do so from the HTML. To do this, I'll click on the Edit button and then click on the HTML editor link. The embedded content uses something called an iframe, so I'll look for the beginning and end of this iframe content in order to highlight and delete it, making sure I get the paragraph tags with it. Once I've removed the iframe content, I need to click on the Save button. Of course, if you're not comfortable editing the HTML within your Canvas page, be sure to reach out to the CTL for assistance. As you can see, you can easily embed content from the library's website into your Canvas course. But if you have any questions on how to do so, please don't hesitate to ask.